Hey guys, welcome into the show. My name is Tyler Kluver. I'm a former Division 1 athlete. I now run a fitness coaching business as well as a sports media brand that creates podcasts, sells merchandise, and creates other exclusive content. This show is a place for me to document my thoughts on fitness, health, nutrition, maybe some business or mindset stuff, as well as update anyone listening on my own competitive fitness endeavors and life events. I want everybody that comes and listens to this show to take something away that can make their life better, whether it's a diet or fitness tip or a way of thinking about things that motivates you to be better in your own life. Hopefully we can get that done, but regardless, I'm glad you're here. Let's have a day. Let's go. We tried this once today already and it didn't record. I don't know, dude. I'm a little bit worried that this one isn't going to record as well. It's showing me the live recording button in the studio. It's showing me that we're been live for 1 minute and 23 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds. It says up here in the corner, I have the ability to end the recording. And this is what it showed me the first time around. And then I ended that recording. It wouldn't let me download it. I went back to the main page where you can find all your stored videos, and it was completely gone. Now, I guess there's a chance that I can go back and it'll just magically load in there. But I think that recording is gone. And it was 35 minutes, dude. I went off. I had this amazing, oh, I'm so pissed. I was pissed. I'm really not anymore. It is what it is. I don't think I can do anything about it. But, I already do this show mostly for fun and enjoyment and like my own self improvement, speaking by myself, putting together a monologue, collecting ideas, formulating ideas, trying to use fancy big words and work on my podcasting so that the walk-on stuff gets better. And so when I waste 35 minutes and I plan this episode, I had something to do at 9:15, an actual appointment this morning. I just wasted 70 minutes worth of not really. I wasted 45 minutes on this. And so hopefully this doesn't get deleted. It's going to be shorter. It's not going to be as long. I'm not going to have such a great man. I think I went on a 15-minute monologue with no ums or uhs, just going off about how the journey is the journey is the value and not the destination. The goal, the achievement, the trophy, the award, the title, that isn't the goal of any big pursuit. It's always the journey on your way there. And I had an amazing 15 or 16, maybe it was 18 minutes on it. Ugh. That is the episode today. I'm going to go over it briefly now because I don't have, frankly, the time to do it again. And that makes me upset, but maybe we'll do a bigger episode on it sometime at a later date. Before we get there, I want to thank you guys. I've been meaning to mention this on the show for the last month or so because I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago is when this happened. But the show actually officially crossed 50,000 downloads. I think this is episode 179 or 180. I could check mid-show here. This is episode 180, dude. And 50, we're now working on 51,000 downloads. And I did the math in the previous episode, and that I believe came out to in my head. We're averaging something like 250 downloads an episode. That's great. That's great. Thank you guys for listening each and every week. I know right now we're not at our all-time peak viewership, which I sort of believe is bot related. I don't think we actually had 300 plus people watching consistently like it said we did at one time. But I think we have 100 to 150 legitimate people who listen to this show week in and week out. And for a show that I don't promote, I've mentioned it like twice on the Washed Up Walk-Ons, which obviously is a much bigger platform. I never really tweet about it. I think I've put out one tweet about like, "Hey, I have almost 20,000 followers on Twitter. If I wanted this show to be huge, I could probably build it into something that's a little bit bigger." But I just kinda let it be organic. It's really a spot, like in the intro says, like, it's for my audio journaling of thoughts related to fitness, health. It says business and other stuff in the intro that I don't ever really dive into, probably because I don't feel qualified. But if I ever have, like, business thoughts, I'll put them in here. And then, me just pretty much rambling about some of my own CrossFit endeavors and how I train and my own fitness journey, you know? So it's very cool that we've somehow amassed over 50,000 downloads. I appreciate you guys coming back every week. And it's fun to whenever, somebody that does listen out there sends me something like, "Hey, you talked about this on the Snapped episode." And I'm like, "Dude, I didn't even know that you listened." Like, and finally, after 100 some episodes, something hit a chord or something was said that you related to, and you sent me a little note about it, and it feels good. So thank you guys for being here. Like I said, today we are going to do that. Journey is the goal, not the destination. It'll probably be about 5 minutes worth here in a minute. We're gonna go over my updated tracking numbers, meaning the stuff that I track for my own personal enjoyment and goals as far as body weight goes. We're going to go over a CrossFit qualifier that I'm currently competing in. In fact, after this podcast is recorded here on Monday around midday, I'm going to head out and make a second attempt, hopefully a better attempt at the first qualifier workout of a competition that I'm actually semi legitimately trying to go and compete in. And then we're going to finish with a disc golf update because we didn't do one of those last week, and we'll talk about why that was. So, journey is the goal, not the destination. What does this mean? In the forever deleted episode, the lost episode, we'll call it, I went into this big thing about Olympic athletes and all the training they do and all this stuff. The high end performers, anybody who's going after a major pursuit that's going to take weeks or months or maybe even years on end, like an Olympic cycle would be. And I just kind of want to get across that I'm not going to be dramatic or try and make it some big, long, drawn out thing here. Is like the trophy that you win for the tournament that you win, or the new title at work, or uh, the Super Bowl. I use the Super Bowl example of how people get to the Super Bowl, they win, they go to the after party, and that they kind of feel empty as they sit at the after party and they think about, okay, we won it. We came and we won the Super Bowl. We're the best team in the league. And then, like, they realize that in just a matter of days, people will forget. It'll be the off season. People will be talking about what team will win next year. They'll be talking about who's not going to be on the team, who's getting traded. People forget about that peak so quickly. They do not care. Name any competition or whatever, quite literally all the way up to the most important competitions in the world, the Olympics, the World Cup for soccer. Yes, you will be etched in the history books if you're on that level, if you're on an international level of like sport, but that's about it. And the idea that when you finally get that thing, you get that trophy, you win that championship, you become the best. I've gotten a little bit more into the triathlon world, right? The Ironman in Kona. You are the best Ironman. You won the world championship, right? Doesn't matter. No one gives a shit because immediately after the little celebration, 5 minutes of fame, you're gonna stand on the podium and receive your medal or your trophy. And now, sure, you have that title for a year, or maybe you're an Olympic champion and you get that title for 4 years, right? Even then, you are well, to some extent, the Hunger Games is not real, right? In the Hunger Games, um, when you win for your district, they put you up in like a champions neighborhood, right? And you see when they come back for that second movie, Katniss and PETA are like in this like little private drive, and the only other one there is Hey Mitch because he's the only other one that ever won a Hunger Games from District, what was it, 12 or 13? 12. And in that sense, sure. Like if you're in the Hunger Games, you get to win the Hunger Games. For one, it means you stay alive because everybody else dies. And two, now your life has changed forever, right? It actually does change the you get to live in a new neighborhood, they parade you around, like you get, you're now wealthy and all this stuff. In normal life, even the best things are not going to change your life that much. People are going to forget immediately. They're going to move on to their own life, their own problems, their own family, their own career. It's just how we are. People are self-centered. It's the way that we stay moving. It's the way that we stay motivated. It has to be about us to some extent. Uh, Even the most selfless people have to be selfish in some pursuit. Otherwise, it's just your life becomes a little bit meaningless. Both ways. Like, a lot of people would say your life is meaningless if you are selfish. But like there's a baseline selfishness that you need to focus on yourself. And so what is the value of winning a title or winning a trophy or a position or achieving a goal, right? What is the true value of that? Because if I set out a goal to squat 500 pounds and I eventually hit that, what does the act of me getting under a bar and actually performing a 500-pound squat really get me? Other than that, in this very niche, like, saturated singular event where we have this weird thing called a barbell and I'm able to put it on my back and go up and down with my legs. Other than that, what does it get me? In a lot of cases, it probably isn't functional strength. A lot of guys who squat 500, it's not even a functional 500. They have to be in the context of a squat rack to do it. So, in the vastly low chance event that they end up having to, like, they have to run from a lion and they fall off a cliff and they get a boulder stuck on their back that's about 493 pounds. And the only way they're going to survive to get away is, or to get back up the cliff is like they have to squat it off their back. It probably ain't going to happen. So, like this 500-pound squat, other than it just being a thing that uh, we superficially as- uh superficially assign value to, it doesn't matter at all. But there's still value in saying, "Oh, my squat's currently 400. I'm going to take it to 500." The value's in the journey there. The value is in the Olympians who spend 3 or 4 years during an Olympic cycle competing, training, getting better, dialing in so that when the Olympic trials come along, they qualify and they make the Olympics. Sure, some of them will win, they'll get a medal, that will be cherry on top. It's in the journey. It's in the grind. And we can relate this back to normal people, you and me, right? I am still an athlete, but none of my pursuits athletically are anything that anybody cares about on a real true level, right? That affects their life, other than maybe my wife, unfortunately for her. But we can relate this to your job, right? Yeah, you're going for the promotion. You're going for a step up. You're going for a new position, right? A new leadership role. You have hobbies. Hey, you want to be able to dunk a basketball like you used to be able to. You want to lose 50 pounds. You want to be able to run a certain a mile under a certain time threshold. You would like to make a certain amount of money. Money actually is one of those things that can affect your life when you actually tangibly reach a new level, right? But even then, I'd still argue that the value in getting more money or achieving a higher salary or whatever that may be, it's still going to come from the journey and the work you're putting in to get there. And the reason for that is this: the journey lasts a lot longer than the handing over of the title, award, or trophy, right? I relate it back to college football. We used to talk about how we had 12 opportunities, 12 Saturdays. A game on Saturday is about 3 hours, maybe a little bit more. You get 12 guaranteed. Let's call it 40 hours during the fall Saturdays for a division or just any college football player. But the amount of time they spend training, eating, sleeping, recovering, learning playbooks, schemes, getting better, developing team chemistry, workouts, off season, film room, study, 4,000 hours? I don't know, something crazy, like, especially across their career, it's almost 100x. It's probably at least 50x what they're spending actually doing the thing. So you better find value, you better find some sort of good in the journey to get there. And in college football, it's very easy to diagnose that. You are quite literally, and this is why a coaching staff and a program culture and all those things are very important. You're quite literally becoming a man. You're learning how to be a young adult. You're forging the traits and qualities that you're going to carry with you for the rest of your life and that you'll carry with you to potentially be a father and a husband and just a member of society, a productive one, hopefully. It's why I value so much what I got at Iowa because they care about you being a good person. The values and traits that they instill in the football culture go both ways. Being a good teammate, being trustworthy, hard work, a great work ethic, disciplined, on time, routine, things that are important and matter. Those are the things that are forged in that journey. And so, what can we take from this in hindsight? It's the fact that when you're in the journey, enjoy that shit. I'm going to go hit this workout here in about 45 minutes. And aside from the fact that I put out a what I'll call a bad attempt already on Saturday, and I'm now having to redo it on Monday to try and get a better score. I'm motivated because I thought about this concept and relative to me. I thought about how it would be dumb of me to go and when I do compete, be nervous or be scared or leave something on the table or not give my best effort because the amount of training that I put in, the amount of hours and grind and routine and discipline that I put in, I don't want to waste that because that's what the good stuff is. This is just a time to have fun. Do what you've been trained to do. Showcase it a little bit to yourself. Maybe prove something to yourself. Take your own mental to another level. Whatever your pursuit is right now, and I know you've got one. It might be in the gym if you're listening to this podcast. It might be a weight loss goal or a bench goal or I want to get 15 strict pull-ups, whatever it could be. It might be a career goal. I want to increase my salary by another 10 or 15 or 20K. I want to make this promotion by next year, year after that. You've got something, and if you don't, you need something because it's going to be what drives you in life. Could be something a little bit more abstract, like, hey, I want to be a better father or husband. Dial that in and enjoy the process. And when you feel the grind and obstacle and the pushback of the process, the day to day, smile and love that shit because that is the prize. That's the goal. That's you being forced to change for the better. And that's what you want. I actually got something good out of that whole rant there. It wasn't as good as the first time around, but golly, we did it. Tracking numbers for today. We know if you're around, you're aware that the three numbers I track are my total calories, my protein, grams of protein per day within those calories, and then my steps per day. And we bring this up every once in a while. I think I brought it up 2 or 3 weeks ago because that's when I started retracking my food. September 15th was the first time I had tracked calories since probably early June. My wife and I went on a 5-year anniversary vacation sort of thing back in June. And basically all of June, July, August, no tracking. No tracking. I just took the summer off, decided to eat intuitively. Still every once in a while monitor the weight, because I know what I'm doing. Nothing was going to get crazy. I was still going to be working out and stuff. And now we're back on it because we have a little bit more. We would like to dial it in a little bit more for the CrossFit season. So a small update on this. Um, Total calories, 3 weeks of worth of tracking, 21 days. Over those 21 days, I have averaged 4,175 calories per day. Within those calories, I'm averaging 217 grams of protein per day. And I'm averaging, oddly enough, and this is not on purpose, but just under 10,000 steps a day, which is kind of that goal that you just hear, like, yeah, get your 10K steps a day. There's no directive there. Um, but I think I've just sort of, over the last 5, 6 years, since I've understood that walking is more important and here's how I want to be a little bit healthier with my day to day routine and all this stuff starts to add up. And just by nature of me trying to be better each and every single day, my natural inclination between working out and just the way I live life, I am sitting right at 10K steps per day, 9,916. My goal for the steps thing is pretty much just to monitor it and use it for weight loss if that's the goal. It's currently not the goal. So if I was trying to lose weight, I would up my step count from whatever my previous sort of average was the previous 3 months. Right now, it's 9,900. I don't care. Um, I do have a baseline of like if I do not take an average of 7,000 steps per day, I think that's where from a general just like health level, every human should be. Like we need to be taking 7, 8K steps a day at least. I'm well over that, so we're good. The protein goal, again, 217 grams. I am only trying to eat just clearly over the amount that I weigh, right? So 1 gram per pound. I know that's a little excessive for some people. Some people think it's right on, or even maybe you could do a little bit more. I think 1 gram per pound of body weight, ideal body weight, is exactly where you need to be, and it'll give you everything you want muscle growth wise. So I'm getting 217. I also track my weight every week, just once a week on Sundays. So yesterday I weighed in at 201.8. So I'm 15 or 16 grams above that goal. And then total calories, we're simply just eating the way that I wanted to for the last 3 weeks to see where my body weight versus my intake was sort of at. Weighed in at 201.4 on day 1, 201.8 yesterday on day 21. So we have only gained zero point 0.4 pounds on a basically 4,200 calorie diet. That's very good in some ways. It's less good in other ways. Basically means that if I want to continue to um, maintain muscle mass and maintain this size, which is the current goal for my body, strength as well, I have to eat 4,000 calories a day. That can be a bit of a chore. On the other hand, it means that my metabolism is on fucking fire. I am very metabolically healthy and I can kind of eat whatever I want. So there's a good side to that too. Uh, we're just going to continue to monitor those. Probably won't give you another check in for another 2 to 3 weeks. But the goal here is sort of to get up to the 205 to 210 range before I start to cut down. It's hard to do when you're it's hard to do when you're when your body's burning 4,000 plus calories a day. And we're not making a crazy effort to gain weight. If I was, I'd bump my calories to like 4,500. Now that I've got 3 weeks worth of tracking, I can see, oh, this is sort of where I'm at. Any slight weight gain, I just want to be because it's good for me and my body wants it, and it's probably muscle, right? And we're going to continue to do some DEXA scans as well here in a few weeks. We'll get those fired back up for this CrossFit season. I know a couple people have asked about that, but those are the numbers for right now. We mentioned that I'm going to be doing a CrossFit competition. A couple weeks ago, we talked about a Miami qualifier. That's a team qualifier. We'll talk about that at a later date. We also talked about, maybe quickly mention that me and Cole are going to be doing a partner competition here coming up in about a month at the gym that I go to once a week on Fridays. That is something different as well. What I'm currently doing is a solo qualifier for a competition that will happen out in Charleston, South Carolina in February of next year. And it's a big competition. I'd call it probably one of the 10 biggest. It's a top 10 CrossFit competition across the country that isn't the actual open quarters, semis, games. It's what we would call an off-season competition. So it's a big one. I've never officially really went after something like this, so it's exciting. I'm putting a lot of effort and a full go at this thing. And we like I said, I did the workout on Saturday. It didn't go well, or as well as I'd like it to. We're gonna give it a go here in about 35 minutes, and we plan to do better. Um, so that's the plan. It's a 4-week qualifier. You have 4 or 5 days over the course of a weekend. I guess 5 days. Workouts come out on Thursday nights. You have to have them submitted by Tuesday nights. Um, One workout per weekend for the next 4 weekends. We'll see where the leaderboard stacks up after 4 weeks. I am gonna be registering in the elite pro division. So it's gonna be, there's not like a ton of pros, like the top 40 games guys, or even a ton of semifinals athletes that'll be at this thing, but there'll be several, and there's not a ton of spots. Only 16 guys make the pro division. I doubt I make that. My goal would be to make one of the 48 qualifying spots for the elite division. And if I don't make that, it is what it is, right? That's the tangible, not that's the tangible thing of not Jesus Christ. I can't even talk. That would be the goal. If I don't reach it, there's still value in me trying to attempt this, to pursue this thing. And then and so I'll keep you guys updated on the qualifier. And then finally, disc golf update. Did not give you one on last week's podcast because not last Friday, but 2 Fridays ago, I went and played at the home course, Centennial. Nothing new there. I've played it probably 15, 20, I don't know, 30 times. It's the course that I've played the most. It's basically my course to go out and practice on. And I thought I needed some practice because I realized at this point I had bought a bunch of new discs. I had lost some discs. I had replaced half of my bag. And I decided, you know what? I need to go and just get comfortable with the new discs that I'm throwing before I continue to go to all these big sort of like advanced level courses that I don't even know that well and just start throwing discs into the forest. Let's try and not continue to lose these fucking things. So we did it. It was an okay day. We learned a lot more about how we can throw discs than necessarily like trying to score well. And then last Friday, I went and played Walnut Ridge in Johnston, which is, I think, one of the more underrated courses in the Des Moines metro area. Beautiful wooded course, 18 holes. Tee pads were massive. It honestly, every hole had 2 tee pads. So there was like, for disc golf courses, this is rare, sort of, unless it's like a pro course or a very well kept up course. You're rarely going to find 2 tee pads per hole, which is basically a short and a long tee. Um, this one had that, and every tee pad, every hole had been carved through the forest, cleared, well kept. It was pretty amazing. Beautiful day. I played like shit, plus 10, but I had never played the course before, didn't know what any hole looked like. And I was pretty happy with the experience overall. And again, I got one more round with a bunch of my new discs. Didn't lose a single disc. Tried to, but somehow found every disc in the brush, off the fairway, in the forest, just like, I would go up and look in 30 seconds and I'd find the disc and I'd be just like, holy shit, I just keep getting lucky. So probably only about a month left. It was 39 degrees this morning, so about a month left of good disc golf weather before you'd really have to start wearing like a sweatshirt to not be freezing, in the 40s, 30s, and 40s as it gets closer to winter here in Iowa. We still have 3 pro level courses to play: Grandview, Ewing disc golf course, and I think it's Ewing Park, and then Pickard Park, which is the number 1 pro course. It's a series stop on the actual pro tour in Indianola. Those 3 courses, probably another time or 2 out at Centennial, and then maybe one other different course. We'll maybe go up to Ankeny and play Heritage Park with my brother. And that'll probably end the disc golf season. But that's the update. Hope you guys found something out of this episode. Again, whatever pursuit you're on, it's not the end goal. The journey that you're in right now, that day-to-day grind, that is the fucking value in what you're doing. Find it, enjoy it. No excuses. They aren't valid. Go live that shit. I'll talk to you next week.